Hello everyone. I'm gonna try this again. I had created a little video on how I painted the second layer of the fish, um, only to realize after I got finished that it did not record the whole video. So fortunately, I had a couple others already painted, so I can show you what I do in the next layers. First off, I'll apologize if I start coughing or get a little squeaky. I'm getting a scratchy voice. Hopefully I'm not getting a cold or anything like that, but uh, um, we'll see what we can do. Tonight I'm going to start adding the second layer, as I previously said. I poured my resin last night. It's cured. So now I'm going to start going in and adding in the second layer. So I've got my brush, fine point brush. I've got my blending medium, the slow dry blending medium Liquitex, and I've got some white paint. And I'm going to be working in very thin layers. The reason I like to work in thin layers is because I like to have the previous layer to be able to show up underneath the layer I'm currently going to paint. I'm going to start with my fins, and again I've got my slow dry medium and some white paint, and now I'm just going to be highlighting a few of the areas on the fins. Now this does two different things. Of course, number one, it highlights. Number two, it creates a shadow underneath the fin, so that helps create the illusion that the fish is 3D. When I'm working on the koi fish in white, on the fins, I don't spend a whole lot of time on them. Now, if I'm working on a betta or another fish that has a lot of color, of course, I'll spend more time adding detail. But since these fins are going to be white, I just want to have a little bit of the highlight. I'm working kind of quickly on this tonight. I like videos that are kind of short and to the point. I don't like videos that are long and drawn out. So I'll be doing this a little quicker than I normally would if I'm just painting my fish. Also, I apologize whenever I'm painting. I tend to stop talking. I guess I'm not a very good multitasker when it comes to talking and painting. I akin that to walking and chewing a piece of gum, because if I did that, I'd probably trip and fall. I tend to be a fairly clumsy person at times. I have twisted my ankles numerous times for silly things I've done. Okay, I've got I added some of the white highlights on the fin, and again, I'm doing this rather quickly. I just want to give you an idea of what I'm doing. Anyway, I've got the fins done. I'm going to go back and I'm going to put a little bit of a highlight where the mouth is. And then I'm going to draw in the little whiskers. Now again, like I said last night when I was working on this, there's no right or wrong way. It's a matter of what you feel and what you're comfortable with. When I first started learning how to do this, I would try to imitate what the artist was doing in the fish they were painting, which is a good thing. I mean, that's one way to learn. But over time, I've kind of developed what makes me feel comfortable. So if you decide this is something you want to do, you know, jump in, watch videos, practice what you see, and then as you get more comfortable, then you can start figuring out what makes you feel comfortable. And when you get to that point, your art starts to become yours. And that's kind of where I'm at now, that I do things the way I feel comfortable for me. So I've got my fins highlighted. I'm going to take some white paint, again with the blending medium, and I used the wrong brush for that. I need a little wider brush, so let me come in here. Oh, if I could find my wider brush. Just had it. There, got my wider brush. Okay, a little bit of blending medium, some white paint. I'm going to thin that white paint down because I want to keep the brush strokes smooth, and that way I can get my paint thin, and I can get it smoothed out, and you'll be able to see a little bit of the paint from the previous layer. And I just keep working this until I like what it looks like. And you'll see me move my brush off to the side. I'm just kind of wiping some of that paint off my brush. I'm following the fish shape, and I think I've got that the way I like it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the brush off that I just had, and while my paint is still wet, I'm going back and I'm following the shape of the fish in the direction that the fish body is positioned. And I'm dabbing my brush and cleaning the tip of the brush off as I go. And what this is going to do is pull off a little bit of the paint that I just laid down and create the illusion of the scales of the fish. I'm just working and turning my shell as I go. so I can make sure that I'm working in the right direction. Okay, I've got that done. That added a little bit of texture. So I'm going to take my smaller brush that I was using previously. I'm dipping it into some of the blending medium and the white paint, and I'm going down the center of the body, again following the shape of the fish and adding a highlight. And then after I get it laid in there, I'll take my brush and using the paint that is on the brush and that I just laid down, and I'm blending that into the body. And that gives me a little bit of the highlight of the fish. The next thing I'm going to do while that dries a little bit is mix some blue and a little bit of black along with my blending medium. And it doesn't take a whole lot. And I'm going to paint in where I want my eyes. It's a little bit too light for me. I want the eyes to be a little darker, so I added a little more black. And then I'm going to add the eye on the other side. Okay, cleaning my brush off. I want that to dry. Off to the side, I have some of the orange that I use for the spotting on the koi. And again, blending medium, keeping it thinned out. Also gives me a little more work time. And I'm going to dab in where I want that color. Again, dabbing and blending it out because I don't like harsh lines. Some people prefer a harsh line. For me, I don't like it, so I like to make sure that I have enough blending medium that I can work and blend those lines out so they're not so harsh. This is the second layer. I will be doing 4 to 5 layers. For this fish. I got tickled last night. Of course, you know that was the first video I've ever done. And when I was watching the video, I was like, oh, my towel was awful. And they even mentioned it in the video. And I had one of my followers had to laugh because she was like watching the video and she was thinking that she would have put down a different towel. So tonight I put down a piece of paper so you didn't have to look at my my ugly towel with paint all over it. And the other thing I noticed, I really need to get a manicure so my nails look nice. But for now, it'll do. It'll have to do. Okay, so I've got the orange put in. I'm going to go back to the eyes since they've dried a little bit. And back with the blending medium and some white. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a highlight around the top of the eye. And it'll look a little funny right now, but as I build up the layers, it'll start working together. Now I go back in that previous highlight that I put down the center with my blending solution and the white, and I will dab some more of the highlight in there. And that's the basics of what I do. I typically do take more time in doing this than what I'm showing you on the video. I'm just giving you a general idea. You'll end up coming up with your own technique and style if you choose to do this, and that's what it's all about. We should be here encouraging each other and sharing some of what we do. We don't have to give away all our secrets, but we're all here to learn, and you know, this is one way that we learn and can grow. And it's also nice to meet new people. I appreciate you watching my video, and you can follow me on Facebook at Deanna's Creations. Please take a look over there and look at some of the art I've created. My art is for sale, and if you see something you like, please send me a message, and I would be happy to create something for you. I appreciate you watching, and y'all have a good night.